Hello, I'm American authoress Nanette Lorraine Hernandez. I pretty much know everything that there is to know about men, and I'm only going to do this video in one shot because I hate doing videos. The only reason why I'm doing this is because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I've gotten so many emails from both men and women on my website, NanetteKnowsMen.com, that I just decided, fuck it. I'm going to just do a video on several little pointers that I have in a couple of my books. And here's my perspective, ladies. I'll be 55 on July 4th. My give a damn is busted. I'm not here to get friends or gain fans or to get likes. I could give a flying fuck what your opinion is. What I'm going to tell you is 100% the truth. And if you don't listen to me, then your relationships in your life, as far as your personal life anyways goes, is just going to remain miserable, lonely, and fucked. So you really have no other option. You're welcome to just not listen to what I have to say and just write me off or whatever, is tweaking inside your head thinking, oh, blah, blah, blah. Or you can just shut it and listen. So I'm going to cover several different things in this video because, like I said, I hate doing this shit. And I'm only doing this just, to get some of the questions answered that have been sent to me on my website because I'm busy and I can't, answer the same question a bazillion times. Also, normally I would not recommend glasses and your hair up, especially when giving a blowjob. But it's hot. I'm in Australia. My hair is practically down to my waist because I haven't been able to get it cut. I was going to get it cut in March because I get my hair cut like twice a year. And because of the pandemic, I can't cut my hair and it's driving me crazy. So it's all up. So anyway, this video is for women, not men. So could give a shit. All right. So I'm going to start with the most obvious question that women ask me before I get into the props. And that is why they can't make a relationship last or why they can't find anybody. And here, ladies, is the underlying factor as to why not. Most of the relationship advice that you receive is from feminists. And that's the equivalent of going to a Nazi to ask about recommendations and trying to understand a Jew. Now, we all know that Nazis hate Jews, sadly. When you hate something or someone, you have no understanding of it. And because feminists hate men, they don't understand them. This is why they churn out these ridiculous shaming articles about misogyny and the patriarchy and how men are actually the cause of the coronavirus. I mean, it's just insane. And you as women, heterosexual women, you read this stuff and you ingest it. And then you wonder why men don't want to be anywhere near you. It's like you stink like a fart 24/7, 365. And men may put up with certain things for a minuscule amount of time to get their dicks wet, but at the end of the day, they don't want to commit to you and they don't want you because you stink like a fart. So here's the bottom line. Feminism was started by lesbians, and I've got nothing against lesbians. There's many wonderful lesbians out there, but the problem is that the vast majority of lesbians out there hate men. Your women's studies classes in almost every university on the planet is taught by a man-hating lesbian. And while women and the togetherness and the strength and all that stuff is important, it doesn't teach you how to be self-reliant as a woman. It teaches you to blame men for everything, and it teaches you that men are the problem when actually women are the problem. And I'll tell you why. Because we are the purveyors of love. We are the entity that love comes from. And we have become so tainted that there's no longer very much love left in the world and really no hope left. So if you hope to, in fact, um, you know, have a good relationship or you want to make your relationships better, then you'll hear what I'm saying. You'll think about it logically and not emotionally, and you'll understand that it's impossible for you to get advice from an entire section of the female factor that hates men and then think that you can apply that to your relationship and that your relationship's gonna work. It's not going to. Um, I also want to say, and this is the truth, and I'm sure that you can, see me sitting here. I'm definitely not perfect. I'm 5'11". I am a big bone, tall Amazonian woman. I have been since I was the age of 11. Whether I lose weight or gain weight is irrelevant. I'm still a big, tall girl. And I'm not perfect. I, of course, have my faults. But I'll be 55, as I said, on the 4th of July of this year, 2020. And I can honestly tell you that I have never had a bad relationship. I've had some relationships that have ended in a hurtful way, but no man has ever intentionally hurt me. When I was in my 20s, a man that I'm still friends with, we're really great buddies, he actually came to my house at 3:30 in the morning and dumped me because he'd met a hot blonde chick at a party he wanted to fuck. He could have just fucked her and cheated on me, but he had so much respect for me. My friendship, in fact, was so important to him that he actually came to my house and dumped me before sleeping with her. Um, I really believe that my success with men in my relationships, and when I date a man, I'm with him for a long time, like years, 4, 8, 6 years. I've never been married. I do have a child. I never wanted to get married. And I enjoy long distance relationships where there's a lot of space because I'm not a needing, whinging, 5-stage clinger, and my life does not revolve around a man. I'm extremely independent, but on the other hand, I also make my man first in my life. And hopefully, a lot of women have read my books and they've learned how to incorporate those two things, being independent and also being submissive. And if you don't know how to do that, you're never going to get a man to fall in love with you. You're never even going to get a man to like you enough to make you the only person that he wants to stick his dick in. And let me just tell you something else. Um, a couple of weeks ago, somebody that I'm friends with on Facebook, who shall remain nameless, emailed me that they were wanting to leave their marriage, very unhappy, not in love with their spouse anymore, and then was asking me for all this advice, which I gave him. And then a couple of days later, was on Facebook talking about his anniversary, telling his wife that he loved her, which I knew was a lie. Um, the reason why men lie is not because it's something that they're trying to get, it's something that they're trying to avoid, which is drama. And if you set yourself up from the very beginning in a relationship where a man feels comfortable telling you the truth, then you're not going to have any issues with him. Um, so I'm going to just step back here and I'm going to start from the very beginning and I'm just going to tell you a couple of things. And then, like I said, it's your choice whether or not you want to listen to me. However, I feel like if you can go through your entire adult life without having any track record with men where they've intentionally tried to hurt you or where the breakup has been so bad and so devastating you couldn't get over it, I mean, I think I'm living proof that my success with men is because everything that I'm telling you, I've applied to my own life. So the first thing is that if you're in a relationship or you start a relationship with a man putting yourself first instead of him, the relationship's never going to go anywhere and it's never going to be successful. Because men only respond to how you treat them. And the interesting thing is that even though most men are not feeling based, they're logically based, even though of course men do have feelings. I'm just saying that men are instinctive in knowing when a woman is genuine and when she's not. They instinctively know if you truly love them. And so this is another reason why relationships don't gel and men don't commit, because if they really feel like you're not in it for them, you're just in it for yourself, the relationship won't last longer than 6 months. So the first thing that you need to think of when you're coming from the relationship perspective is you need to think about it how a man sees it. Okay? And if you can reach that point to where you look at it from their perspective and you start doing things in your relationship because you genuinely want to make the other person feel good, he will instinctively reciprocate. The second thing is that when you start dating a man, you should never ever make the demand or use sex as a tool to try and get him to commit to you, because it's never going to work. I cannot stress this enough. A man has to choose you. If he doesn't choose you, then the relationship's bullshit. Let's say that a man's dating 4 or 5 women, he's sleeping with 4 or 5 women, okay? And he really wants to see you, then he will. He'll make the decision himself. If you con him, manipulate him, guilt him, try to force him into committing to you, it's not going to happen. He may say it. It may even feel like it for a couple of weeks. But it's not going to happen. You have to give a man the space, the time, and the rope to make any decision that he wants to make in regard to you. If you try to choose for him or force him into a decision, he's never going to give a shit about you. Never. Now, you may think or con yourself into believing that as long as he's there, that's all that matters. But that's why you're so miserable and unhappy. I bet you, most of you who are watching this video right now know that a man doesn't give a shit about you. How can you be happy when you know someone doesn't care about you? If a man comes to your house and he spends time with you because he wants to, that's worth more than being married to somebody for 25 years who doesn't give a damn if you live or die. So again, the choice is yours. I have never, in the entirety of my relationship, ever asked a man if he loved me, ever demanded that a man love me, ever asked a man to buy me anything if he didn't want to. I've never expected anything on Valentine's Day or my birthday or Christmas. I've never asked a man to commit to me or given a man an ultimatum, ever. Not in my relationships. I've let the man decide if he wants to choose me. My last relationship, we were together for 4 years. I didn't find out until we broke up that he had actually been exclusive with me for the last year and almost a year and a half. He'd made that decision that that's what he wanted to do. I knew he was sleeping with other girls, and I knew that he was using protection, and that was really the only rule that I had, which he had no issue whatsoever in respecting me on that. But, you know, the point is that for the last half of our relationship that he chose me. And that was because I didn't put any pressure on him. And he was also young. I tend to date men that are, 15 to 24 years younger than me. So I prefer younger men because, any man's going to tell you that they're going to give you shit. So if I'm going to get shit, I'm going to get shit from a stiff dick. And that's just the way it's going to go. That's me. Much like there's many men who prefer younger women. So, que sera, whatever floats your boat as far as I'm concerned. So, if you really want to have a successful relationship, then you need to read my book, Men Only Want Sex and Their Freedom. It's on my website, netnosmen.com. I highly recommend it. It's got all the pointers that will give you success in a relationship with a man. And if you want to read these other books written by feminists and you don't get anywhere with your relationship because they're not being straightforward with you and telling you the truth about how men really think, that's your choice. I'm going to tell you right now, especially after the Me Too factor, men do not give a shit. Their give a damn is busted. They don't care. They don't care. You can write all the stupid articles you want to write, say all the things you want to say. They're just not going to marry you. They're not going to date you. They're not going to commit to you. They're going to tell you what you want to hear to get their dick wet, and then they're going to be gone. And, I don't blame them. It's ridiculous that feminism and so many women think that they can blame men for everything and everything's men's fault. It's just bullshit. So, anyway. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple of things. And one of the things I want to talk about is nuclear head, rimming, and props, which I tell women they should get a bedroom box, and they should. So a lot of women have emailed me asking about rimming. And so I'm going to just go ahead and say this straight. There's no difference in rimming a guy's ass than there is in sucking his cock. Any of this crap that you hear about crap getting in your mouth, it's just bullshit. Okay? It's just, I'm going to say feminists, ignorant women who've obviously never even bothered to rim a man's ass, so how would they know? Trying to stop you from doing something that gives men tremendous pleasure. So here's what I recommend in regard to rimming, and I talk about it extensively in my book, Creative Screwing, a Woman's Guide to Becoming an Erotic Enchantress of Super Lustful Sex. But in short, in regard to rimming, what you need to do is you need to just start with antibacterial wipes. You wipe the crack of his ass, okay? You get this wonderful thing called Better Than Spit, which also you need to use when you're sucking his cock. And you just soak the crack of his ass with it. And then you just go to town on his asshole until he is just fucking, the cum builds up like a tsunami and it's just ready to crash, okay? And then after you rim him, clean him up, get him all comfortable, throw a blanket over him because he's going to want to sleep. Maybe you go in the kitchen and put a pizza in the oven because he's going to be hungry when he gets up, even if it's only like 15 minutes that he's just laying there. And you get in the shower right away because you need to make sure that there's no transfer, okay? And you use this Listerine, okay? It's got medicine in it. It cleans out your mouth completely. It cleans out any germs so there's no transfer. And it's just really simple. Rimming a guy's ass is the best thing that you could ever do for him. I'm telling you, it'll blow his mind. It completely cleans his motherboard. It completely takes away any inhibition he ever had. And it's fucking fabulous. Okay, so when it comes to giving blowjobs, I always tell women that they need to get a dildo to practice on, not a vibrator, a dildo. And this one happens to be a realistic, which is got the uncircumcised. It's the first one. It's a 6-inch. Everything's backwards here on video, but whatever, you can Google it. And like I said, you can practice. Let the dildo air out for a couple minutes because they're plastic and they can taste bad. But when you're sucking a man's cock, never ever rely on your spit because that's what part of the problem is. You need to get something like Slick Dick's Better Than Spit. There are several good lubes, and I talk about them in my book, Creative Screwing. But in order to give a good blowjob, you have to have friction, and you can't have friction unless it's slick. So again, I recommend that if you're going to suck his dick, you've got to have something that is super slick. The other thing I want to discuss right now also too is props. Something like this nipple pump. I have one of these. This one is for a friend because she was like, oh, how do you keep your nipples hard? And This is it right here. It also has a sensation of uh, a nipple cuff, which I love, and it keeps your nipples hard, and men love that shit. Um, Another thing that I'm going to recommend is this backdoor anal comfort spray. One of my friends just had anal sex for the first time a couple weeks ago. I recommended this to her, and she said it really helped. Um, it was very painful because it was the first time and she'd never done it before, but it was actually more painful afterwards than it was during, which was good. And it's something that she's going to get used to because her boyfriend likes anal sex. And she's bought her a cat, which I thought was a really sweet thing to do. Did it have the balloon on its own. He like asked me for anything, and that's what I mean about how men will reciprocate. Men recognize genuine kindness, generosity from a woman. And if you've never had anal sex before, and you're willing to give your ass to a man because that's what makes it easy for you, many men, especially a good man, he'll find some way to reciprocate. You don't have to ask him for anything. Don't demand or expect it. You know he will, and you know he won't. Chances are he'll have a good one. So, I recommend knocking out the places on all these things. Sex yourself out. Got a little whip here, a feather. So, in the end, when it comes to sex and when it comes to pleasing a man, if you go into it thinking about him first and yourself second, and what it means to really be in a relationship, and that is that you're doing something for somebody else. It's the same thing with your parent, your child, your friend. When you go get your friend a cup of coffee, you're not thinking about what your friend's going to do for you. When you stay up all night and sew a costume for your child's play, you're not thinking about what your friend's going to do for you. When you go and pick up a couch to help your mother because she can't drive a truck, you're not thinking about what your mother's going to do for you. You do things every day for people in your life that you love just because you want to make them happy. But you don't do that for your man. Everything that you do for your man is all about you and what you're going to get. And that's why you don't have a successful relationship. So, again, I'm not here to make friends or fans, and I'm certainly not here for likes. I'm here to tell you the truth. And if you don't want to listen, like I said, you don't have to. But I guess that depends on whether or not you want a happy relationship or you don't. So, goodbye and good luck. And I hope that this pandemic isn't getting you down. And if it is, there's plenty of sex shops where you can go ahead and get yourself some happiness. Okay? Have a good day.